Oh, sorry, I was muted. Just did a lovely intro. Anyway, on you go, Frank. 10th of September, 2014.
Good morning, everyone. Well, welcome to the universalmindradio.com in association with Wolf Spirit Radio. And this is the Earth Mind Healers Group. And that is different from our regular healing group on Sunday evening, because today we concentrate on working with and healing issues having to do with our ecology, our economy, and any other things having to do with group mind consciousness that come up. And so what we do is use the group mind consciousness, the focused thought, fixed idea, and intent that we can all pull together as a thought form, as a massive intent of energy, and we inject that into the group mind consciousness of the world and of Earth mind itself. Because Earth is a living entity that has consciousness, and it responds to our thoughts, to our intent, our desire, and our will. And it's all about the law of attraction. What we manifest, we attract. And so as we use the 0 point to manifest our physical reality around us, we can also use it to manifest thought form that has a direct impression on world events and consciousness, and it is proving to be very effective. The more people we get on this every day, on this show, the more powerful it becomes. And in those times when we have a large amount of people, we see things like shifts in the weather patterns, or earthquake effects, or possibly even affecting things of a national nature like the HARP energies. But our intent is not to dominate or control. Our intent is simply to enhance what is normal in world consciousness, in the weather patterns and earthquakes, to bring stability to this very troubled times that we are going through now at the end of the last age, as we move into the new age, moving from domination into dominion of consciousness. And that is causing a lot of turmoil as the world consciousness, the group mind consciousness of humans shift from domination and being subjective to the powers and rulers and controllers. Now we're learning that we don't have to be subjective to the economically or religious powers that dominate the world. We can be in lower levels of group mind consciousness or less concentrated group mind consciousness as far as national events are concerned. We can be more in lateral consciousness having to do with our own rural current events in our own neighborhoods. And as such, we're actually moving back into the primitive period prior to the evolution of domination on Earth, where people lived in dominion, which simply means empowering, giving, loving, sharing of abundance, healing, nurturing, educating, and taking care of ourselves in general. And also in the shift of frequencies as we move from domination into the higher frequency range of higher conscious of dominion, we are stimulating our DNA. We're bringing back the life that we could have had and did have at one period in the evolution of our DNA over the who knows how long eons of time. But the interesting thing about DNA is it has a set plan already established, and as we rise up through the levels of need or of societies, we stimulate different aspects and regions of our DNA, and which directly affects our brains and our exterior world. And so we're learning that we have power. We have power of consciousness, and with directed thought and intent, we can achieve things, and not only in our own lives, but in everyone and everything around us. And so this was brought forth to us through the works of George Green, which I recommend very highly, because what he has espoused as being the flow and development of human evolution and the way the world is now and what it can be very much parallels what I have been given and shown, to the degree that it almost sounds like it's coming from the same source of consciousness as we channel information through. On our Wednesday and Saturday show, we work more directly with the world mind, earth mind, the heavy forces of consciousness, and we do see the direct response in many cases to our intent. On the Sunday show, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, in the first hour we do some kind of a teaching process or discussion where we examine what we know in the World Healing Group, and we share it with others, and we ask for input through the chat room or direct calls for questions and for input right along with us, and it has, even though we seem like a small effect, it has a larger effect, because what we create and bring into form stays in form and becomes a resonance of consciousness to all of those who are receptive and approve of our ideals and our ideology. And so, are there any requests from the group today as to what we can do in Earth Mind?
This is Teresa. Hi, everyone. I have a request. Last night I was listening to Nassim Haramein, a physicist from Hawaii, and he was discussing the topic of water and matter. And he was talking about the structured water and how through pollution and radiation and mechanical things that water pass through, like, for example, at right angles, it destructures water, and our bodies cannot absorb, the cells cannot absorb water, and we can be drinking all day long, but if the structure is inappropriate, then it won't fit, the geometry won't fit into our cells. And it's just a simple process of running water through a tube, let's say full of marbles or crystals, and all of those nice little vortexes that are created can actually re-energize water into a structured geometry. So I was thinking that perhaps what we could do is set in motion something, I don't know exactly what, but wherever it is not structured, perhaps we could set up, maybe in the wave action and the beaches of the world, set up some kind of geometry so that the water lapping on it comes back and is structured and then goes back into the clouds and it comes out structured. So throughout the world we need to have restructured water so that we can function better, because our brains are 90% water, and our DNA apparently it will not function appropriately without structured water. Because the DNA has so much water attached to it somehow. So,
well, that makes a lot of sense. And as I said, listening to that, I'm listening to Stephen speak also. And Stephen is indicating that structured water, as we know it in nature, because water is in movement. It's being activated, and and that activation adds energy to it. And the water in itself can be a static thing, but when energy or thought form or any kind of subtle energy is applied to it, it responds by holding the information, the knowledge of whatever resonance is coming into it. And so out in nature, of course, it would be accumulating the information of the subtle energy fields of the instinctive consciousness of all living things that is patterned in the earth and earth mind, and that resonance would be patterning the water and bringing it back into useful instinctive consciousness, so that the cells, which are of course acclimated to that, pick up that resonance and quickly and easily use the harmonics to stimulate their own needs and requirements for life. In addition to that comes the understanding that water that is held in containers, like water tanks and things of that nature, that is not moving, becomes stagnant. It becomes still. It tends to harmonize, acclimatize to that tank or the locality where it's at. It's not getting the full consciousness of nature being applied to it. And so this brings us to memory of our early years as a healer, when we learned to literally pattern healing energies into water, and how to clear water by holding it in our hands or clearing a crystal and putting it in water. And patterning, we even went so far as to pattern crystals with intent of what we would like to have happen in the person's immediate family and reality. And that had the same effect of using crystals as what nature has of imparting the natural harmonic instinctive frequencies into the pattern of water, and you could call it structured water if you want. The second way we did it was to hold a glass of water between our hands, or a gallon of water, whatever we wanted to pattern, and just hold our hands away from the edge of the container an inch or so, and feel the flow of universal group mind consciousness come through us, which is the instinctive conscious of nature itself on a much more evolved form in the human stability of consciousness. And through that flow that comes in through the back of our heads, down to the 0 point, or through our hands and into the 0 point, it works both ways actually. As we hold our hands around a gallon of water or a container of water, we have a polarity flow between the left hand negative and the right hand positive. And that flow of potential information that is coming from universal consciousness can be directed by you with your indwelling soul, your intent and will. So you can pattern that flow of energy that comes through you into the water with your intent for healing, for health, vitality, to stimulate anything in your system that you want to stimulate. And it immediately responds, and more importantly, it holds that patterning. And so as we direct energy and desire and will and intent into water, it's a living liquid crystal, just like a quartz crystal is. And water tends to pick up whatever its surroundings are, and it's certainly not picking up much in an iron pipe or a plastic pipe as it comes through, even though there is movement there as it's channeled through the water system, through our homes in most cities. It's not picking up the vital life force, instinctive consciousness that we need, that is more in resonance on the surface of that's interacting through the surface through silicon dioxide and the DNA, the very surface of the ground. So with that thought in mind, the concept trace of structuring water is very good, but we need the deeper reality and understanding of how it actually works and how we can become the co-creators in manifestation of intent and form to work more directly with the elements of nature and the functional facilities of nature through water and crystals, and our intent to create a living reality around us that is more beneficial to life as we desire to live it. Are there any questions concerning that topic?
I have a comment. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Regarding structured water, I agree with everything you said, and water is alive. I'm wondering, in nature, we do see, I guess you could say it automatically produces distilled water by, dew, and it's, naturally waters plants are designed so it can absorb that water. And I was wondering if distilled water, if you made your own distilled water, there's motion, it's changing its form, would that help in that way of structuring the water? And then the intent of being conscious of what you're doing, like you said, the water and what the energy we want to bring back into our lives. That's awesome important.
Absolutely. I'm a direct advocate of distilled water. I have 2 stills in my home that I keep in motion constantly when I'm running all the time, and I just exchange the gallons, the jugs out as we use them. And you're right on as far as the motion. But more importantly is the fact that you're clearing a lot of negative contaminants, even contaminants that come out of the earth itself. In spring water and things of that nature, simply because it has a natural source does not mean that it's necessarily very clear of contaminants. And I like those who advocate that we need natural water of some source for the minerals involved. The observation is that if you are eating plenty of vegetables and plants, you get enough natural water, because 80-90% of all plant life is water, and it's coming from a pure mineral source, and it is clarified when it comes into your system. So I do advocate natural water. Water that is purified and distilled, if it's coming from a source where pollutants have been added to it, particularly chlorine in the city water systems and things of that nature. And there's quite a controversy about this out in our consciousness, but my recommendation is try drinking a glass of pure distilled water as compared to something that comes out of your water tap, and see what the effect has on your body and how you like the taste of it. It's so refreshing and clear. I love natural distilled water. And if you feel like you're having a lack of mineral nutrients, there are supplements available that you can take directly in that will certainly add anything you may need in your diet. But just like most doctors, they maintain that you can get nearly everything through your natural diet if it's a varied diet that you require in any case. Any other questions on that?
I got an interesting, heard something interesting regarding water recently, that the earth is covered in 2/3 of it is covered in water, and that the water is like Frank said, is a big crystal structure that can absorb information, and the rays from the sun, the solar EMTs and all these solar flares influence the transmit knowledge or something into the water of the earth. I found out a pretty interesting concept. I don't know if it's true or not. What do you think of that, Frank?
I think it's probably right on. our essences of quality that come from the solar flares and direct sunlight that are essential to life, that can pattern into water. But that is already there through the cycles of and systems of natural cycle of the water evaporating and coming back as rain. It picks all of that up anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. The greater clarity of what we take right directly into our systems is what's of importance, and what might be contained from other sources of water, like the groundwater and things like that. Speaking of the solar energies, we do have an X2 flare coming in today, and it's about an M6 on the scale, which, if it hits direct, could be highly detrimental. So our general intent for the day is to strengthen our golden shield to repulse or to carry those or to transmute those energies coming from the sun directly around the earth and out the solar winds on the back side of earth away from the sun. And so we'll go right into that now. We'll go into our deep meditative state where we have direct access to the subtle energy fields that control all things. Take your awareness to your forehead. And step back into the soul center and reach out and unify through the soul center with all other souls of all humans on earth, and just feel like that feels like just an expansion of your awareness, remembering what your point of awareness is where you are, and it is unlimited. You can extend your point of awareness anywhere that your brain is capable of containing the information. Our intent, reaching out into the earth today, our primary intent is to unify not only the intent of humans who are conscious of the negative potentials of a sun flare, but of all, through the DNA of all living things on earth. It's like a prayer, like a request into the greater extended consciousness, the subtle energy field of nature that holds all things in form. And we take that intent to the sun, that request, that when it does release solar flares of a large magnitude, strong enough to be detrimental to Earth life, that it do it in a direction or a manner that's not detrimental to Earth and life on Earth. Now feel the power of that unified consciousness. Now we'll hold that unity and take a step on back deeper into the psychic center, around the pineal gland. And here we stimulate our as always, as we pass through this area, we stimulate our pineal to be more receptive to psychic influences, psychic messages from other people. It's like opening the channels of communication directly between our minds when we do this. Now take a step on further back into the unconscious mind. This is really the subconscious mind, the subtle energy field that holds all things in form. And this is also the most primitive, lowest levels of God Force consciousness that holds the universe in form. But learning to work directly in coordination, unified intent, we can become co-creators. Now drop your awareness down the spine to the heart center, the spirit center, that little point of the God Force consciousness that is within you, that holds through the 0 point the positive negative polarities of the standing waves that hold all things in form. And here we come directly into contact with the God Force. Feel your hearts open up and encompass and embrace the 0 point of all living things in this moment of now. In this moment of now where choices or intent acts on the standing waves from the manifested form of the past. In this 0 point where all waves collapse to recreate in the moment of now in the next standing waves of the future. That's where our intent, our desire and will acts upon all things that are in standard form, where we put our direct intent to create a more positive, benevolent world living in dominion. Now take your awareness on down the spine, down into the earth mind itself, and anchor into the negative polarity of earth mind, and knowing that it is in direct opposition to the oversoul above our heads of positive polarity, the male polarity. And those two polarities are what hold all standing waves in form in the distortion of intent that creates a standing wave between them. Once the energy is created, it's never lost, and it simply changes its form. Because the energy is always there in boundless manifestation. And it's intelligence and consciousness that manifests the form from the energy potential into matter organized. Now extend your awareness out from earth mind, reaching out into the 0 point of earth mind itself. Feel that come into direct resonance with the earth mind, the subtle energy fields of the sun, and feel the incredible life-giving force that comes from the sun into our reality. Which the intelligence and the need of earth and DNA transmutes into life as subtle energy, God force, transmutes through DNA, through the light of the sun, through the energies of earth and all elemental forms of earth into life and reality, and know that we play a living part of that manifestation. Our direct intent at this moment is to strengthen the grid that we have created around the earth that works in direct consciousness with the sun to carry detrimental energies from the sun around the earth. And so to do this, we go into the earthquake grid with the dual plan of suppressing negative earthquakes. Take your awareness into Southern California now. Just feel yourself become one with the land and feel Earth, the Devic consciousness of Earth. Devic consciousness are those forms of consciousness reality that have been created by intent and thought to manifest to form. Now feel the energies of earth mind in your lower chakras, the full resonance and attunement with the polarity of earth below your feet. And lift the energies you feel of building earthquakes from land movement at that point. Lift that energy up your spine with the intent to take it up through the crown chakra, out through oversoul, and into the ionosphere of the earth, where we've created an incredible golden shield of energy from all the energy we've released from earthquakes in the past. Our intent is to release anything above a 4.0 that could potentially create a larger earthquake that could be detrimental. So we pull all its energy up the spine, extend it around the golden grid in the ionosphere, and we feel the flow come up through our systems, dissipating around. And we encompass that whole area in our intent as we move northward to San Diego, up along the San Andreas fault line, lifting, clearing, releasing. Northward to Los Angeles. And with the release of this, we're also releasing a lot of the instinctive stress in people that could cause civil disorder or family stress. We lift that, the stress energy of the common consciousness of people, also from these major cities. Lift that upward to be transmuted into a universal form of utility that's beneficial. Come on northward to San Francisco, clearing the San Andreas as we go, and clearing all the people all the way up the coast, the inner valleys, to the Canadian line, and releasing the stress energies of everyone who lives in that area. Stress is nothing more than unresolved situations that people's subconscious minds holds on to, waiting for a solution. So we release the subconscious mind of having to hold unresolvable situations. We do that for everyone on the West Coast. And inland, all the way through the Sierra Nevada mountains, as we continue to release energy from the Cascades the Sierra Nevadas on the eastern side of California, on through to the Rocky Mountains, particularly in Wyoming and the Yellowstone caldera, reinforce that huge column of energy we have there that's releasing stress from the magma, pressure, reducing the pressure so it can't explode. I take our awareness to the Pacific Northwest again, continue to release from the ancient volcanoes, the subduction zone energy. I take your awareness northward to Alaska, the subduction zone from the North Pacific Ocean beneath Alaska, feeling the incredible amounts of energy that's released by the collision and the lifting of those plates, creating the mountain ranges. Release that. And take your awareness southward along the Aleutian Trench, releasing the energy from the volcanoes, potential earthquakes all the way to Russia. And then southward along the Kamchatka Trench to Japan. And the Japan Trench that subducts, creates Japan itself with that energy upward. The 5.1 at Ichinochi. This is in the area of the reactors. So we use the energy that we're lifting from any Earth activity in Japan or its islands now. We created a whirlpool of a cyclone of ascending energy carrying the radioactivity with it into the ionosphere where it's transmuted into beneficial energy. And we leave that as an ongoing function. Take our awareness southward to Taiwan. Further southward to the Philippines. Here's a major release of activity southwest of Modayak, Indonesia. This is underwater, and so release that energy to prevent any opportunity of tsunamis. And swing on south to the Indonesian crescent, the Java Trench. We can take that all the way north along the Java Trench to Myanmar, Burma. There's a 5.4 there at Sai, India. Come back to Indonesia, eastward to New Guinea. A lot of sub-oceanic activity there, all the way through the Solomon Islands, and eastward to Fiji, Tonga, the Tonga Trench. Southward to New Zealand, and there's several big releases around the Easter Islands in the mid-East Pacific Rise. Then eastward to South America, subduction zone, the full length on the Peru-Chile Trench. Lift those energies upward through the ancient volcanoes in a harmonious release of energy. And northward through Peru, Central America, releasing the energies through the earthquakes of the subduction zone, full length of Central America. Now eastward to Jamaica. There's a 5.2 at Georgetown. Now eastward through the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, ongoing minor activity. Now eastward to the Pacific, to the Atlantic Ocean, to Iceland, where the volcano is releasing at the level of 5.4. Release that energy upward. Release it from the magnet chamber underneath, so it does not compress into gas. So it's a flow. It is released. The energy released is an ongoing lava disbursement rather than a gaseous explosion. Now take Uranus back eastward to the Mediterranean. Several mid-range earthquakes in that region of Turkey, northern Italy, Cyprus, and on eastward to northern Afghanistan. In that collision zone, an uplift from the landmass of India to the Himalayas. Eastward to Beijing, China, 4.2. Now back eastward across the Pacific Ocean to our point of beginning, into the central United States, the Oklahoma region, 3.6s, as the magnitude of the earthquakes caused by fracking are increasing there. They will never be strong enough probably to create excessively damage, but it's a disturbance to the landmass and to the Devic forces of form there that we release the energy from. I go to the New Madrid Fault, north of Steele, Missouri. Let that energy, the full length of the fault, and on into the Appalachian Mountains where there is ongoing fracking. Now back to our point of beginning. Now we lift our awareness once again to the resonance between earth, mind, and the sun. And we direct any energy from the X flare, that is the X2 flare that's releasing at the present time and will release tomorrow through the 12th. We release that around, direct that around the earth, visualize those energies flowing around the earth, create a lot of northern lights, but it won't reach the earth, through the ionosphere, outward on the opposite side of the sun. Now we know this is an ongoing activity. We maintain that shield. Bring our awareness back into the human consciousness now. The human group mind conscious around the world. And redirect the flow of unconditional love from the galactic center to everyone on Earth, giving everyone the opportunity to make the right choice in their own lives and in their group mind consciousness, to release domination from the world, to inspire dominion. Particularly put attention on the financial structure of the world now that is going through a battle with the Illuminati. The release of the old system of domination controlled by the banks, shifting of the consciousness of the banks to be a service organization rather than an organization that just sucks the life force from everything. We see the Iraqi, the formation of the new Iraqi government is completed. The release of the revaluation is in place. We see that resonating through the revaluation of all currencies on Earth and the reliance on a gold standard that is being created rather than the fiat money system of the Federal Reserve. So to release the boom and bust cycles, which were designed simply to pull more money from the system into the hands of the Illuminati, so that the productive efforts of humans all over the earth will be self-serving and community-serving rather than serving the fiat system, the cabal system. As dominion becomes the dominant expressive field on earth, expressing love and harmony, balance and harmony between all living humans, and releasing from Earth mind the chaos of past choices that created domination in the world. Bring your awareness back into your own system. Back up your spines. Pausing for a moment in the soul center to send a wave of appreciation, love, and congratulations to all the humans on earth who are receiving our message and are responding in a steady growth process towards self-realization and release of the domination forces that control their reality. Now step back out into your frontal lobes, back into conscious reality. And I thank you all greatly for participating today. Adding the message that anyone who wants personal work, clearing, healing, can contact me directly through my webpage, Psitronics.com. It's psi-tronics.com.
It would be great if they also wanted to call you directly. Your phone number is 208-344-9188. That way you can schedule an appointment with them right away.
And also by email, flJordan@cableone.net. flJordan@cableone.net. Now, thank you all for participating, and we will look forward to seeing you Saturday morning at 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. And I want to thank all the participants from around the world who have been calling for appointments and information and materials from my website, books and tapes and CDs and whatnot. So we look forward to seeing you in a few days. We're back, JP.
Oh.